Bum, 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 bum. Mindy, for a Friday morning, for a pre-NLDS, we get lasers because the Dodgers are still winners. The last time we saw them, they were winning a baseball game. So welcome to the Friday morning edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcus Grant. Greg Bergman, Parker Bell, joined on a Friday by Matthew Moreno. Matthew, welcome back, man. How are we feeling on this Friday?
Good. I've gotten dry from the Clubhouse celebration the other night, so fortunately my jacket took the brunt of it, and I was able to dry up and not get in trouble driving home. That's always my concern, is driving home from the stadium. It's late. Like if a cop were to pull me over for some reason, it's like, why do you smell so bad? And I'd have to show him videos and I credential and stuff like that. Everything's all good.
I got two questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
I got two questions for you while you're in there. So I saw that your boy Blake decided to ask you, you didn't wear a poncho, did you?
No, I never have.
Okay, not good. We're happy to hear that. And the other part, why won't you bump, ring?
I don't want to throw your guys' rhythm off. You've got it nailed down, and if I get involved, it's going to just mess up the vibe here.
We have zero rhythm for this. None whatsoever. I'm going to ask, did you consider bringing like a change of clothes or something, just like another shirt or something like that to to throw on after it was over?
No, I never have. I just usually go with like I'll put a jacket on or a sweatshirt or something that I know is probably gonna get pretty soaked. And also I do try to, for better or worse, like I don't completely immerse myself. One, like I don't want to get drenched, full, like pants and stuff. Two, like it's the players thing, right? Like as much as we're there to kind of get content, I know people want to see it, so I try to work a balance of, hey, like this is their thing, this is their celebration, like let me not stick a camera in their face, the entire half hour, however long we're in there. So I work a balance, but no, I typically, in all my years doing this, just kind of, put a jacket on, go in there, and whatever happens to that happens.
I guess the good news about this whole thing is that if you have been covering the Dodgers for the last 13 years or so, this is a pretty common occurrence. You've got to be a part of a lot of these. So hopefully there will be a couple more before this baseball season ends. And it continues starting tomorrow against the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll dive into that and plenty more. But first, want to give a shout out to LAX as always. Los Angeles International Airport, transforming the travel experience. They are saving guests time. People Mover train on the way. Hopefully early next year, it'll be up and running there. So if you want for more information, you can go to your friendly web browser and type in flylax.com/transforminglax. All right. So game one of the National League Division Series between the Dodgers and the Phillies hits tomorrow, 3:38, I believe, first pitch time. In the PM, Shohei Ohtani versus Christopher Sanchez. And Greg, before the show, you were going through and looking at Dodger batting averages against Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah.
Not particularly great, but then again, I think that applies to a lot of hitters around the league against Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez is a very, very good pitcher. They got to him pretty good out here when they were in LA just a couple of weeks ago. So I also don't feel afraid of any pitchers against this offense right now, because every single time a good pitcher has come in over the last month or so, they've looked good against them and they have gotten some runs and put together some runs. Or the Maruco for you, Parker, from back in the day, the manufacturing runs company. So yeah, they've been doing that a lot, but looking at it right here, it's just, they don't have a lot of, it's a very small sample size. Shohei has the most at bats against him with 16, and he's 4 of 16 with 2 RBIs and 6 Ks. Not great, but he's Shohei, so he's going to do his thing. The people that stood out that actually hit him pretty decently, Teoscar Hernandez, who is 5 of 12 with 2 home runs. Andy Pages is 4 of 10, no home runs, but he's got 4 hits against him. And weirdly, Alex Call has 2 hits against him, both home runs. So that to me is a little bit odd, but I don't know. Maybe we see Call in left field instead of Kike Hernandez just because of that. But I'm assuming Kike is going to, because it's Kike-tober.
It's Kike-tober. It's Kike-tober.
Yeah. Which one is it, Matt? Is it Keek-tober or Kike-tober?
No, so I know Jeff is kind of trying to, create some controversy here.
He is.
It is Keek-tober. We did a live show last year asking our fans, or viewers, I should say, do you guys want us to still spell it with Kike the way he does, or do we switch it to Keek? and they said to still use his name, like his name. So it looks, it's not pronounced how it looks, basically, is the easiest way. Jeff was just trying to stir the pot with you the other day.
You got to go with what rolls off the tongue, and Keektober,
Yeah,
I think rolls off best.
Yeah, look, Kike Tober, just I don't know, that extra syllable in there just doesn't quite work for me. So, Parker, Greg's talking about this offense. I mean, again, the last time the Phillies came in, Christopher Sanchez, they got to him for 4 runs in 7 innings. That is, there haven't been too many times he's given up that many runs in a ball game. Where does it start with Shohei? Is Mookie have to hit? I mean, who are the guys that you feel like have to kind of move this thing along for the Dodgers to win this series?
Well, it feels as if Mookie and Shohei are almost a given, the way that they've been playing, at least, if we were to base off of the past, few performances. But I think the ones who get it going are the names that, somebody like Greg mentioned, Teoscar. You need Teoscar to really just help stretch this lineup. And if Muncy can get things going as well, I know that when you're dealing with injuries throughout the season, I mean, it can be tough to really get things going. But if Muncy can stretch this lineup out, that's somebody who I'm looking forward to have a big series. Because, Christopher Sanchez, if it wasn't for Paul Skeens, probably would be the front runner for the NL Cy Young. That just the whiff rate and the that two-seamer is so nasty. So it's going to be a difficult matchup. But I think that if you see some of the guys, Teoscar, Muncy, pull through, Shohei and Mookie are just going to be the usual guys. The same with Freddie. They're just going to get their hits, move runs along. But let's see somebody else in the middle of the lineup really pack things going.
Matthew, I know that they haven't listed the pitching matchups for the rest of this series, but if it's anything like what we saw with the Phillies a couple weeks ago, it's going to be a steady diet of left-handers, which sort of poses an interesting dilemma because Max Muncy obviously not very great against lefties. What do they do with Muncy in this series? Because I feel like you can't not play him, right? He's got to be in the lineup somewhere, but you also sort of worry about his bat against left-handed pitching. What happens at third base? Do we see Muncy? Do we see Kike? How do you think they go about this?
Yeah, it wouldn't fully shock me maybe if Kike gets a start at third base, and perhaps, Greg mentioned Alex Call, like he does have the 2 home runs off Christopher Sanchez. So as weird as it sounds, maybe Alex Call is in left field and Kike is at third base and Muncy is available off the bench. But the Dodgers have trusted Muncy, whether this season and all other years against left-handed pitching. They don't view him as a platoon. So it may just be a matter of, look, like, yes, maybe you haven't necessarily hit him all that well in your career, but you're one of our guys. Like, we're going to stick. You're not a platoon. And so we're just going to stick with you. And, I don't want to say hope for the best, but kind of.
But kind of hope for the best. Yeah, no, I get it. Absolutely. Which sort of, I think, Greg, dovetails into a bigger conversation about the playoff roster, who makes it and who doesn't. And I think, we could spend part of this show just sort of guessing who's going to be there. No Michael Conforto during the wild card series. I don't know that he makes it again. Do we see Alex Call? Do we see Justin Dean? Is it dependent on the health of Tommy Edman? I mean, who are some of the guys, I think, especially in the outfield, that make it and maybe don't make it based on what we expect in this series?
I don't expect to see much different than what we saw in the wild card series. I think Justin Dean and Alex Call are both going to get it because they are looking at what they want for their outfield in late inning situations. They're going to pull Teo. They're going to pull Teo and put Pages in right and bring in Justin Dean and Alex Call. And so they have a much better, more dynamic outfield, one that can make big catches and have better arms. I don't see Conforto being on it for just those reasons too. You're not going to carry that many outfielders. I mean, look, the Dodgers are going to do what they want to do, but I don't see the reason to have Conforto on this roster, especially with all the left-handers. It just doesn't make much sense to me. It's because he's not a great outfielder. He's maybe mid to below mid, but when you have other guys that you can put out there that are above average outfielders as defensive replacements for Teo, and would be a defensive replacement for Conforto too if he happened to be on that roster, it just doesn't make sense for him to be out there. I think we see basically the same thing that we saw in the wild card.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I
pitchers will change.
The pitchers will change, which I guess is sort of the next thing, right, Parker? I mean, we got to figure out this bullpen, which that might be a whole show unto itself. But I'm thinking in terms of at least for tomorrow, right? We saw deep performances from Blake Snell. We saw Yamamoto work into the 7th inning. Probably gets through the 7th inning without the Teo error. If he doesn't throw those extra 12 pitches in the 1st inning, maybe he does have enough to get you all the way through 7. But that, whatever, that's neither here nor there. I saw in the chat Clumsy Chrissy asking, how long do they let Shohei go? Do they let him go 8 innings? Do you think, Parker, maybe they push Shohei? I mean, I know right now they've kind of capped him at 6 at the most, but let's say he gets through 6 innings and he's at like 70 pitches. Do you think Dave pushes it one more inning to try to get Shohei through 7?
I think in that specific scenario, yes, I think they do. This is the one wild card here. And I know that for baseball, for people who maybe aren't even Dodgers or Philly fans, this is the best case scenario. You get Shohei versus Christopher Sanchez. But if we're being real, as Dodger fans, Shohei is kind of, we don't know what to expect when it comes to starting in the playoffs. And he does have some of the nastiest stuff, and he is an ace. On any other team, he's the number 1. But I'll tell you what, I think that we need to see it. We need to see it first. And I am the biggest Shohei homer. I'll admit that any day of the week. But I think, Matthew, there is a case of this could be one of the maybe scariest games, actually, because you might have to go bullpen early if Shohei's not necessarily ready for the playoff pitching. And I don't know where that would leave us in terms of losing game 1, knock on wood, but you want to win this game in terms of gaining that momentum, because this Philly team is scary, guys. Like, this is a team who honestly mirrors the Dodgers of past, a team that couldn't really get over the hump the last few years. They're just right there. They're right there. And they got all these kinds of dogs who are just hungry to do so. So Shohei really has to come out and mean business. He will, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew, I know. Look, I think ideally Shohei gets through 6, right? I'd be shocked if he goes 7. But I mean, look, you watched those 8th innings with the rest of us the last couple of nights. How do they bridge that gap? I mean, I don't even know for sure if it's Roki in the 9th inning. He looked great. We don't know who in the 9th inning is, but how do they get to the 9th inning with the way this bullpen is right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question that needs to get answered, and probably has a different answer each night. I think you just try to do the best you can with, however, if Shohei Ohtani does give you 6 innings, okay, well then who's coming up in the bottom of the 7th? What part of the Phillies lineup is it? Well, let's try this option. You mentioned obviously the other night, Emmett Sheehan, like he was supposed to be one of the trusted options and relievers, right? Like he dominant in the starting rotation. Dave Roberts has said multiple times throughout the year they trust him in any big moment, and then Sheehan gets his first chance out of the bullpen in a high leverage situation. He struggled, and it happens. Like I get, like, no relief pitcher is perfect, even the Hall of Fame ones, and it's just been an unfortunate kind of self-fulfilling prophecy for the Dodgers bullpen. And so, yeah, I mean, yes, maybe Roki Sasaki all of a sudden is, if it's the top of or I guess not the top. I imagine the Dodgers would probably throw lefties at the top of the Phillies lineup, which is concerning considering Schwarber and Harper have hit lefties. Like it's not, to their credit, like they're not getting shut down by those guys. So it's just going to be, I guess a little bit of gut feeling from Dave Roberts. And like I said, kind of where the Phillies are at in their lineup.
Yeah. I mean, I flash back to, the attempt to have Anthony Bonda open against the Phillies a couple of weeks ago. And when he gives up the home run to Schwarber and he walks Bryce Harper, and it's like, well, that didn't work at all. So we'll see if they try something like that again. Obviously, look, I think Shohei's getting the ball. He's going to be on the mound to start the ball game. That's pretty much cut and dry at that point. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I mean, Greg, for you, I mean, when you look at this starting staff, right? We got Ohtani going on Saturday. Any thoughts on how they follow him up? Do they go back to Snell potentially for Monday? Do you have any inkling of what you'd like to see with this rotation?
Yeah, I think you go right back to what it was. So after Shohei, you could, because Snell pitched on Tuesday, Yamamoto on Wednesday, that's your normal rest. I would absolutely go back to Snell on Monday. It's enough time for him, and then you don't see Yamamoto till Wednesday, so he's right on track. The way that pitching staff should work out is exactly how it is needing to work out. I think they're in a great position, and that's what we talked about a bunch before, even in the wild card series. There's no team that's better positioned with their starting rotation than the Dodgers, and you have that right now. And by the way, I think Shohei is going to go as long as Shohei can go. I think that he's going to, if he's going into the 8th and he's at like 85 pitches, which would be a phenomenal amount of pitches to be left there. Phenomenal. If he has that, he's going to go as long as he can. I think they're terrified. They're as terrified of the bullpen as we are in these situations. So it's Roki, Kershaw are going to be in Sheehan. I think they can trust Sheehan. Those guys are going to be very, very impactful here. And I think they're very much like the Dodgers in that it doesn't matter which arm you are. Those guys can hit either arm, just like Shohei, Mookie, Freddie can hit either arm. It's maybe you get a slight advantage with a lefty-lefty matchup, but it doesn't matter here to me.
I'm seeing this in the chat, Matthew, people saying Roki is the closer. Do you think the Dodgers agree? Are they ready to hand him the ball in a high leverage ninth inning situation?
Yes, they are. I think it's where, it kind of gets into semantics. Is he the quote unquote closer? And that's something the Dodgers just for the most part, yes, Tanner Scott, heading into the year, even with him, they didn't at his offseason signing press conference, they were asked if he's the closer, and they didn't say yes, they didn't say no. They said he would get, I think the lion's share was how they worded it, of save opportunities, and that obviously went how it went. The reality is if they feel that the eighth inning is maybe the highest leverage compared to the ninth, and they trust Roki Sasaki for that, then you're going to see him in the eighth. And so then he's not your, like I said, de facto closer at that point. But high leverage situation, yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely he's quickly ascended up Dave Roberts' trust tree in the bullpen.
I mean, there ain't a whole lot of branches on the trust tree
Right.
at the moment. So congrats to Roki on shimmying up to the top of that tree without any branches to kind of help him along. But that said, Parker, do we see your boy Tanner Scott? I mean, I would think in the course of a 5-game series, one that at least I believe is going to go 5, I don't know how they can hide him over 5 games. The question, I guess, becomes how much of a sticky situation do they put him in? Do they give him a clean inning? Do they bring him in mid-inning? I mean, you have been the Tanner Scott champion on this show. Your thoughts on him for the next week, I guess.
Well, it was getting harder and harder to be that guy. But, I'll tell you, I'm not sure, because I think that the Blake appearances that we saw, that Trinan, may have spoken volumes about where Dave's trust, really lies. And I think that he might go with his vet when it comes in those scenarios. But it's a longer series. There's going to be a lot more opportunities. There will need to be a lot more opportunities just based off of, innings. So I believe that, yeah, we will see Tanner Scott. And I think that it's going to be in a specific situation versus a lefty. Let's see if he does actually have something that's, still there. And then as we hear Scott Kaplan typing in the background.
I was wondering what that was. I'm like, none of you are typing. I'm not typing. Where's Cappy?
For anybody
your
listening,
mic, buddy.
Yeah, for anybody listening before the Dodgers game, just know that we're trucking through this while also hearing Cappy type his heart out. But yeah, when it comes to Tanner Scott, my guy, I know that people give me flack for it. I think if you put him in positions to succeed, he's still got it. And I know that Dave is that kind of guy. He wants to put his guys in positions to succeed, just like Sheehan. We're going to see him again. I know he had a rough outing, but he went up there on the mound, Dave did, and he let him know, hey, we're going to need you if we want to go forward, if we're going to want to win. So be ready, dust it off. And it's similar with Tanner Scott. He's done it before in terms of regular season, but he's had good performances before in his career. Let's see it in this postseason.
Speaking of Dave Roberts' guys, Matthew, what of Clayton Kershaw? Wasn't on the wild card roster. Will he be on the division roster? Will he see any opportunities in this series coming up?
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess unless there's a late change and it was just posturing by Dave Roberts, Kershaw will be on the roster. Same thing for Banda. Dave did say, early in the week when he was kind of discussing both of those decisions that at that time, obviously the Dodgers hadn't advanced yet. He said if we get to the NLDS, they both will be on it. In terms of opportunities, I think that's sort of TBD. I think, had the wild card series gone 3 games, had the Dodgers needed to use Glasnow out of the bullpen, then I think we were going to be looking at a scenario where Kershaw starts, one of these 2 games, the first 2 games against the Phillies in the NLDS, considering, as Greg, mentioned, like the rotation is set up very well for the Dodgers at this point. There's no reason to really start Kershaw. So I think it just comes down to, okay, he's available out of the bullpen and maybe some sort of long relief role if the Dodgers get into that situation. If they're up 8-0, similar, 10-2, similar to the Reds game, like maybe you see Kershaw finish the final 2 innings to, he's somebody that they'll trust and he could help save. I I guess I'll say save the bullpen, and you can interpret that however you want.
Save Roki, save Kershaw, save Sheehan,
save Ferris. Yeah, the whole
that's
deal
about
there.
it. Whatever happened to save Ferris anyway?
I don't know. They had one hit. They also wrote a song about spam, which was clever and catchy, but was never gonna be a hit. Anyway, didn't think we'd start talking ska music this morning. All right, so a few more minutes left before we wrap this up and get ready for some Division Series baseball. Might as well go around the horn on this one. Greg, we'll start with you. Give me your series winner and who's going to be the MVP of this series.
So it may be a very homerish take, but I like the way that the Dodgers looked against the Phillies last time I saw them. I like the way the pitching staff looks right now. Outside the bullpen, I like the way that the 1 through 9 looks right now. So I do think the Dodgers win this series. I think they win it in 4. I don't think that it goes 5. And I think the MVP of this series is Mookie Betts.
All right, Matthew, your series winner and your MVP.
Oh man, I'm honestly torn between Dodgers in 4, Phillies in 5.
Wow, really? The Phillies in 5 one?
Yeah, I'll go Phillies in 5. Home field advantage, and the bullpen concerns me. Like I don't think we've seen enough options yet that are kind of stable, reliable, consistent. And let's see, MVP. I think it'll be. I'll do Trey Turner.
That one hurts.
We've seen Trey Turner in the postseason, Matt.
Fair.
Like we've seen what he can do in the postseason, and that's nothing. So,
all right, Parker, your series winner.
He said
and your MVP?
he has to set up for it. He says the series winner is the Dodgers, and MVP still Mookie.
MVP still Mookie. All right, I'm gonna go Dodgers in 5, and my MVP. I'm gonna go with Teo Hernandez as the guy who
I like that.
Who puts it together offensively and will be good enough defensively to make it sort of work. So I like him to be the MVP of this series. It is going to be intense. I've talked to several Phillies fans who admittedly are terrified of this Dodger team. Like, and I was like, you guys haven't seen our bullpen. But I think they look at this, they look at this lineup 1 through 9. They look at the starting pitching all the way through, and they understand how good this Dodger team is. And so they are understandably, worried, respectful. So I think both sides expect this is going to be just a battle all the way through. So, final thoughts, Greg, before we head into this weekend.
I'm really looking forward to this series. I think it's going to be a really hard-fought series. The Phillies are good, but like I said before, I really like the way that the starting pitching looks. Can really hold this team off balance. The Phillies off balance. They're giving up like 1 hit a game. The starting pitching. So as long as they can keep showing them doing that and keep moving guys over, it's not always about the home run. Just keep the ball in play. Good things happen, and we just move guys around, get some runs on the board, and you can get to this pitching staff. And we've already gotten to the Phillies bullpen in the past before. Can do it again. Let's see what goes on here. Let's go Dodgers.
Let's go Dodgers. Matthew, what's going on over at Dodger Heads for the weekend during this series?
Yeah, so we just had a live show last night, and we're doing live shows after every playoff game this year. So however long the Dodgers are in it, come to the Dodger Blue 1958 YouTube channel, and you'll find us doing post-game shows. And Scott does Monday through Friday a live show as well at 10 a.m.
All right, so go check that out as well. And, of course, we'll be back with you on Monday to recap Game 1 of the series, get you ready for Game 2 of the series. So it should be a whole lot of fun. Looking forward to it. I don't know how much of it my nerves can handle. We will find out. Anyway, that'll do it for this edition of Blue Review presented by LAX. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Looking forward to reconvening with you all on Monday. Until then, for Matthew Moreno, for Parker Bell, for Greg Bergman, I am Marcus Grant. Stick around here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel for plenty more all weekend long. We will see you on Monday, everybody. Go Blue.
See ya.